We are going to look at Rigathi Gachagwa's issues to date. We are going to look at his sickness. We are going to look at the over 100 people who have been sacked. And we are going to talk about many court cases that have been there. Three things. One thing is everybody, on the face value, we will sympathize with the workers. We'll sympathize with the workers that 108 workers have been sacked. For some of us, me included, losing a job suddenly and unexpectedly is a very sad thing. When you are working, there are those projections, there are fees to be paid, loans to be, because when you are working, you know that you can even take a loan so that when you retire or when your contract ends, you still live that good life, irrespective of whether you'll get another job or not. You may even get another job, but it may not be as good paying as this one. And let me tell you for sure, working with these powerful people is very rewarding. Leave alone what you get. Kuna hizo marupurupu from various ways. There is the marupurupu from the VIP. There is even some marupurupu from people. I know it is not good, but I'll have to say it. If you're working in, let's say, the DP's office, there are those people who give you tips when they are visiting there or they want to reach there or whatever. Some of the treatments that will end, like now, those people have been sacked, and they have been sacked, and I'm sure that even those people who used to greet them and say that they are keeping off them. But there is something that we should look into, and this is the thing that Gen Z were complaining. We as much as we really feel for these people, over 100, I think it is 108, over 100 people have lost their jobs. As much as we sympathize with them and feel for their families and whatever, because they have targets to meet, they have rent to pay, they have fees to pay, and so on and so on. But there is something that the Gen Z used to say during the campaign that we have now seen. You see, Rigathi Gachagua, in a position he's in, just being stopped him alone, there are 108 people who are losing their jobs. Now the question is, okay, for the deputy president, he has 108. Cabinet ministers maybe 60 or 50 or even 40. We should ask ourselves, do we really need these people? Things have been changing to the worse and to the effect of uh, the taxpayer. During my time in the civil service, everybody at the senior level had two types of advisors. You had an advisor who was paid for by the civil service, and you also had an advisor who was your informal advisor. For example, let me just take an example. When Kibaki was the president, Kibaki had when he wanted anything to do with the police, of course he would seek his advisor. Those days there was nothing like national security advisor. Monica Juma, she's a national security advisor, getting the same pay as a cabinet minister. Now you find that during Kibaki's time, Duncan Washira, former commissioner of police, used to be his private advisor. And then he had another person seconded to him by the government to be a security advisor. And then, of course, there was the police commissioner. But nowadays, all those people are paid for. Even your private advisor is paid for by the government. That's why you find that let us now let us not look at it from the point of the 108 people being sacked. Let us ask ourselves, were they really needed in the first place? Eh, And you see, they get a lot of, and this I understand. I understand when they say that if you are a vice president or a deputy president or even a minister, your domestic workers, the cooks and watchmen, usually are people whom you pay for. But then, for the period that you are what you are, the government pays them, and what the government pays them is quite better than what you do. But then the question which Gen Z said, and which has proven to be right, is this case of so many people. Everybody has chief of staff. Everybody has deputy chief of staff and whatever. Everybody has this or that. Over 20 advisors of various things. And you see, it even becomes worse on what we call cross-border things. If you are the minister for health, you just have advisors for health. But if you have things like, let's say you are prime cabinet secretary, or you are the deputy president, or you are the president and so on, those are people whose mandate run through various portfolios. And then you'll find that the president has an economic advisor, and the minister for economics has also an economics advisor. I remember even a time when Murkomen was sacked. There was a time when Murkomen was the leader of a majority in the Senate. And Susan Kika was also a position there. And Murkomen called a press conference and said that he's felt sorry for the people that he must lay off. You see, Murkomen at that time was the senator for Elgeyo Marakwet. At the same time, he was the Senate majority. So he had two offices, and each office had several staff. So when the duties of when his duties of Senate majority leader was removed, it means that the dozen or so people that were staying in his office would lose the job. So I think what we must have, what we should, we let us, as we follow, irrespective of which side we are, as we follow up this Rigathi Gachagua thing, we are now seeing a situation where imagine somebody having 108 employees, and most of them are not just these casual gardeners or whatever. You are being told that they are in job group T, and you, why? Do you know what a job group T is? I don't. When I was in the civil service, the district commissioners started from job group M. So an estimate, a roughly estimate is, someone is trying to tell me that in Gashagua's office there is around 47 civil servants. Yes, at least 47 civil servants whose salary is equivalent to a county commissioner. That is what I'm trying to say. These are the people who have been told that their job has been stopped and they are going to do nothing or whatever. They cannot report anywhere or whatever. These are hang-ons. These are hang-ons that he came with. Kina Gujiri, the former MP for Nyeri. So you find that he gets out. Then again, we are going to have another deputy president, isn't it? In this case, Professor Kindiki. You know, Kin Maragoli Kindiki. It means another thing. What is it? What is this? Okay. Kindiki, let's say Kindiki is made an he will also look for, the trick they usually do. The trick they'll do is this, assuming that the new DP, let me not mention names because Kenyans, especially on social media, are very sensitive. You mention something, you support you oppose that person. Now, supposing JI-TENGE is now made the deputy president, what JI-TENGE will do upon being made the deputy president, first of all, he will not employ 108. No, no, no. He'll employ around 40 or 50 people. But then from that time, the number starts increasing. The number starts increasing. And how does this number increase? Let me give you a secret. We were told, and Jinsi were told, that all cabinet ministers have been sacked. But look at them. This thing started with, was it Kibaki? When a whole cabinet was transferred to be ambassadors. And when they complained that being ambassadors, an ambassador is junior to a cabinet secretary, I think it was during Uhuru's time. Correct me in the comments section. Cabinet ministers were all transferred. Kaimenyi, you remember there was a minister who was called Kaimenyi. Yeah, that time when the whole cabinet was, instead of people going home, those people were made ambassadors, Kina Kaimenyi and so on. And Wahungu, yeah, there was also Wahungu. Those people when they were removed. So what happened is that a cabinet minister getting so much money, he is transferred to a lesser office getting the same money. And then we are told that they have been replaced for one thing. And then you'll also see that the cabinet, which Jinsi wanted them out, there are those who are not reappointed or anything. But then they come back. There is one, I think, who was taken to State House and was made a deputy chief of staff. So this is the problem that Nani's case has brought attention to. We are not bloated pay. The other thing I wanted to talk about was about the many cases that Rigathi Gachagua is doing. You see, the problem with the Rigathi Gachagua's issue is that he's delaying, but he will not stop. He's delaying the whole thing. He's causing a lot of issues. Yes, I know constitutionally wise, there is a lot of loopholes. The IEBC is not there. The whatever is not there. The hastening. I also would want to. I would want things to be done in such a way that we also try to understand what is this thing called public participation. I think the judges have come up with a thing that they are insisting. Every decision you make, they are trying to say public participation. Like if a motion goes through the second reading and there is public participation, it goes back to Parliament. When the Parliament makes any slight changes, according to the judiciary, they are supposed to go back for public participation. I think such loopholes that are being seen, like now, why don't we have IEBC? Like now, the judiciary should define what is the minimum of public participation, because um, you don't expect, okay, you don't expect turnout to be like that one over a general election. During general election, there is a large turnout because the person who wants to be an MCA mobilizes people. The person who wants to be a cabinet secretary mobilizes, and these six ballot papers. All these people who want these six positions have their personal interest, but when it is something that is in a no form, hii kitu sasa inaitwa do you want the deputy president to be sacked or whatever. It is only the deputy president and his personal friends who are interested, who maybe mobilize things. But if you are going for the general election, you'll find that the turnout will be higher because of more people. The person who want to be the women rep would also mobilize people and so on. And again, we have some countries where they say that for any they have placed a minimum. For example, if Kenya we have a presidential election and three people turn up, just three voters turn up, two voters vote this way and one vote turns. The one with the two votes, we do not have a minimum. In some countries, they say that, for example, they say that if the turnout is less than a quarter of the registered voters, it is null and void. So public participation, what should the public participation be? Should it be a 1 week thing? Should it be a 3 months, whatever? The time it takes, the whatever. So even though I'm against the many cases that are being there, but also it is also giving us an opportunity to seal the loopholes. But then you find that there is something that is in Rigathi's mind that it is really hard for him to believe. And you see, laws in Kenya are not made in something like that. I mean, you are not supposed to make a law today to cover yesterday. Laws are take effect from the day that it is signed into law or constitution. For example, he's saying that for anybody who has been voted for by over 7 million people, how can few people vote him out? Now, any constitutional lawyer would tell you that that thing makes sense. It makes sense that you cannot have a law for 7 million and then how many MPs? 300 plus 60, 67, less than 500 people overturning the nini. If he feels that is bad, then he can mobilize people in such a way that we have a constitution amendment. And if we have a constitution amendment, which is fair, of course, but if we have a constitution amendment of that sort, it will work from the day it is signed. It becomes effective. It becomes effective. So that thing has really uh, blinded his attention to an extent that he's not looking at other things, although it makes sense. But you see, that is how the law is. The other thing he's trying to say is that, he seems not to be understanding. Never, even in the USA, when it comes to impeachment, which impeachment is 60% political, 40% legal. But when it comes to courts and whatever, it is the court only relies on two things. It relies on the laws as written and the evidence as given. Now he's using the system of a law to go to law courts to. I mean, the way you argue a case in a law court is not the way you argue a case to in impeachment. That is where he's failing. But he's going to delay these things as much as 3 months. But at the end of the day, he will still lose. But the question is, why is it him about himself? Remember, very many personal issues and very many shortcomings on his side have been disclosed by his taking the case. Like imagine grabbing things from his late brother. It now shows the way he's arguing. Even he himself is saying, if you ask him, do you have a cup a cup of a dinner table, says I inherited from my brother. Do you have a sufuria I inherited from my brother? And then it has even come to an extent that he saw his dying brother and had the dying brother side. So those things are whatever. They're just not working out. The third and last issue I wanted to talk about was his sickness. His sickness. I do not know. You see, I'm conflicted in so many ways. There are 3 or 4 or even 5 different topics, which to me, all of them make sense. But unless, of course, uh, you handle the case personally or individually, that is when you know whether it is malingering or actually he's sick. But then there is something that he has seen. And that is why I keep telling people, when you go to court, you are given 3 options. You are told, can you defend yourself on that side or that side? Or the third option, unaweza amua kunyamaza kimya na uache uamuzi wa koti. At times it is good to nyamaza kimya na uache uamuzi wa koti. Why? You see, some of these things are bringing in other topics, and he himself is losing more and more. Why am I saying so? The first thing, if it is true that he was, for 3 to 4 days, he was on the limelight and people were seeing him healthy and strong and whatever, and then suddenly he collapses. Remember, in the USA, the biggest problem people have been talking about is somebody's health. Are you healthy enough? You remember uh, Trump once, Trump had a letter from his doctor who wrote that he's the fittest man the doctor has ever treated, which was, of course, out of medical language. So in any country, when anybody wants to be the president, we ask ourselves, how fit is that person? Now, for him to be seen normal, and then in 30 minutes, he's so sick and he becomes bedridden for 72 hours. 72 hours, I think those are 3 days. Then it shows that he's not fit even to be near powers or whatever. Maybe he didn't know that. Or if it is true that it is happening genuinely, then he has already proven to the people that he's not fit for the office. He's not fit on the medical grounds. I wanted to doubt him. But you see, Dr. Gikonyo, the owner of Karen Hospital, has come out. So I'm trying to believe him because of Dr. Gikonyo. But you see, whether Dr. Gikonyo is compromised or not, it will be very hard for us to ever know the truth, because like lawyers, doctors can never disclose things to do with their patients. But then I tend to believe that if he would have gone and given evidence after that afternoon, the issue would have been handled very quickly. So he was trying to run away from giving evidence, and after running away from giving evidence, he also wanted it to be seen that he had been condemned and heard. But you see, he was condemned and heard when nobody knew where he was. And even they had to extend the hearing for over 2 hours. And I don't know how people reason. We have problems in Kenya that a very good lawyer, when his interest is compromised, he stops reasoning. Because here is Paul Muite. Paul Muite didn't know where I nearly said it. He didn't know where his client was for over 2 hours. And even when he went there and came back, he still did not know the nature of the or whatever. And he was saying that he would have wanted the Senate to postpone the issues up to Saturday. I'm recording this on the Saturday that he was supposed to. And yet on the Saturday, that if the Senate would have postponed up to today, up to now, he's still very sick and he cannot be attended to. Now you see how things are going from whatever. So that is how it is. And let me talk as a VIP protection expert. A VIP cannot disappear in thin air for a period of 2 hours. One thing is that he has security, he has a lot of everything, and everything where he moves. And if he reaches a place where even his own, legal team does not know where he is and whatever, then it means a lot. So that is how I was saying that some of these things, some of these drama video are only leading back to him being seen as unfit for the position. Kenya, we have, I still believe that he's not that sick, although my respect for Dr. Gikonyo forces me to have second thoughts. But then in Kenya, we are so much used to that. The first time we had that case was Ketan Somaya. Ketan Somaya. I remember Ketan Somaya, when cases were going bad for him, he pretended to be sick. Even Kamlesh Patni. Kamlesh Patni also had an incident where there is a time when he was appearing before the Golden Bag Commission, and he decided to be very sick. We also had the case of Sonko, and these people are very funny. You find that they even would go with IV. Is it called IV? Hiyo ka pipe kanakuaga hapo kanakuja mpaka kwa mkono up to the courtrooms. And then who remembers the case of Waiguru? Waiguru, when she was the minister for what do you call county government or something like that. Devolution, when she was the minister for devolution, she said that she was resigning because her doctor had advised. You see, this thing about ugonjwa, people just come up with them in a period where they want to cover up for issue. When issue now, who people are, the other day people are out there saying Waiguru should be what? Waiguru should be made the DP. And when they were saying Waiguru should be made the DP, they had even forgotten that there was a time she was conveniently sick. So these things, I have seen it in my time in police. Seen it in my time in the police, where somebody had a letter, where he said the person was not a police officer, but in another ministry. He was level 2 in his department. He was the deputy district, or can we say deputy county director of ABCD. And then when he was number 2, a vacancy came up in Mandera, and he was one of the most fittest people to hold that position. He was to be made the district boss for Mandera. But then somewhere when he was at a lower level, he had seen a doctor when he was working in Lodwa. He had seen a doctor who had recommended that his body is not good. His body is not good for hot areas. So he was told, we are sorry, we cannot take you to Mandera because you already in your file, there is a letter saying that you cannot be medically fit. There you are, viewers. In Kenya, everybody's fit. Can anybody remember those people I've mentioned after their cases had ended? Can anybody remember them, any reference of them about them hospital medication and whatever? No. Hiyo ugonjwa wao inakuwaga tu up to that time they are playing to the public gallery, and most likely Mufiala is also playing to the public gallery. That's all.